At this point, let's take a quick look at what's going on the covers of the newspapers. Mike Mesikeno is here with me as well as we take the covers of the dailies. Today is Monday, May 20th, 2024. Let's start with the Daily Times newspaper, shall we? It says here, constitute committees to reconcile aggrieved APC members, seeks support for party structures. At the top there, it says Germany, Nigeria trade relations hit 3 billion euros, according to an envoy there. It says here, Germany committed to strengthening bilateral relations with Nigeria. Tinubu approves infra core for Green Zone. Ngelale chairs steering committee. Story starts there on the cover and wraps up on page 7. NAF at 60, we are now forced to reckon with, says Air Chief. And seizures, NDLEA declares couple wanted, nabs 4 suspected barons. More on page 2. Mike, should we go to the next paper? Just, let's see. We have the Nation newspaper with us as well. It says here, Tinubu likely to get minister's performance record this week. Deliverables based on administration's 8 priority areas are criteria. And the story starts there on the cover and wraps up on page 4. Top left, Olakunleye cleared to become 43rd Olubadan, all bottlenecks removed. President Oke's panel on green economic drive. Ajuri Ngelale is envoy. Central Bank withdraws cybersecurity levy circular. That's an interesting one. And the troops rescue abducted 383 from Sambisa Forest.
I saw a video, I think it was last week, of some troops who, I think it was after an attack or some sort of an ambush, and they lost some few people, but I don't know if they evaded or they overpowered the assailant, and some of these troops were crying that they lost some of their brothers, and it struck a chord within me and all of that. They are doing so much, and things like this, we should also make it as loud as when we talk about the kidnappings, that these people, armed forces, are doing their best, and they are trying, in spite of the extenuating circumstances, they are still going out there, giving their lives and doing their best to try and ensure that we have a safe country.
Yeah.
So, and then, of course, on the minister's performance, it's been 1 year. I think reviews should be done, even maybe quarterly. We shouldn't even... That's, you know, quarterly, yeah, because...
It just feels like there are not enough months in the, or days in a month.
Days in a month for it to happen. I mean, we saw what happened with the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs. I hope that can go further into other places where if you have issues where ministers are questionable or they don't do what they're supposed to do, or they just use a few months to try to steal all the money that their village has never stolen before. Let them catch them. Let them deal with it.
So it's a KPI matter at this point.
Oh, of course.
And yeah, when the president is doing your KPI, there's a lot of questions you need to be able to answer clearly. Now let's see what else we have here. Anxiety over Iran president after chopper crash. Well, they say it was an incident with the chopper. It didn't exactly crash. I know some papers, some dailies are saying it didn't exactly crash.
It don't crash.
That it was...
It don't crash. It don't crash.
Well, everyone survived.
It was in the mountainous region. No. There were 3 helicopters, and there were 2 helicopters that had officials, but the one that had the president is the one that crashed. And as at now, there is ultimately no way he could have survived and the people in that particular craft. It was in the mountainous region. Wow. Still even trying to get there, although we heard that there are some drone images that have shown that it was a disaster. Wow,
wow, wow. Okay, so at this point, we'll be watching for that story and give you follow-ups in our news bulletins. We have the Punch newspaper here. Dangote petrol supply, federal government may slash 6 trillion naira fuel import. That's 520 billion naira monthly fuel import expected to drop as Dangote begins supply in June. It says at the top left here, oil production nears 1.7 million barrels per day, according to NNPC. MPC may raise interest rate again on Tuesday. CBN, SEC fined 9 banks, 678 million naira. And as we read from the other paper there, 386 abductees rescued during Sambisa clearance exercise from the military there.
I just want to mention and talk about the fuel supply. Of course, Dangote had mentioned that by June, getting into July, we should be able to sustainably not import fuel. And it was big for me, but it's funny and sad that such a statement should be big. It was funny and it was sad. But at the same time, in the same breath, in that same statement, he mentioned about how he has traveled around Africa and he needs 38 visas. There are about 52 countries in Africa. He says he needs 38 visas to travel around Africa. 38. Do you know what that means?
That's
38.
Inside the same continent.
Inside the same continent. That means just 14. 38. There's a lot we need to get to where we should be as a country. That's all I can say about that.
Let's check out what's happening on the cover of the Vanguard. Manufacturers wail as unsold goods pile up in warehouses. As cost of living rises, purchasing power drops. Palm oil producers worst hit. Beer producers emerge best performers. Experts blame FX volatility, energy crisis, and prefer solutions.
As a country, I wish, I mean, I was having a discussion yesterday with someone, very short one, and the person made mention that, look, you just have to have money to be respected in this country. We've come to the point where you had mentioned that because of purchasing power dropping and, of course, cost of living rising so much, even before this particular time, nobody cared about where you got the money from. You had the money, you will be respected. But it's even worse now where, look, it's so bad that nobody really cares. And so our morals, our values are just down the drain. It's getting worse and worse. I wish we got to the point whereby we understand that, look, there is something deeper than just a deep pocket there. Life is much more than that. Values are what matter. And if as a country we should hold values dear to us, we would do better. You know, there's...
We'll definitely do better. We have quite a few stories here for you to spotlight when you decide to pick up one of the papers this morning. At this point, we have to wrap it up on the headlines in the dailies. Thank you, Mike. We are heading over to the kitchen at this point.